Sitting with this morning in studio is Mr. Vidale. And Mr. Vidale is the chairman of the Dr. Eric Williams Memorial Committee. For those of you who may be hearing about this committee for the first time, they have had a presence in Tobago for some time. And of course, this organization is known for its Republic Day commemoration program. So Mr. Vidale, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, and thanks for having me. And it's really a surprise having you as my interviewer. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Mr. Vidale. So for viewers who are not familiar with this organization, tell us a little bit about the Dr. Eric Williams Memorial Committee.
The Dr. Eric Williams Memorial Committee was formed the year after Dr. Williams passed in 1981. It was started by my dear departed father, Captain Alwyn Vidale, ED. And on his passing in 1998, I made a commitment to him and I took up the mantle of continuing to keep the legacy and memory of Dr. Williams alive. So for the last 24, 26 years, I have been at the helm of this committee, and I have been leading what can be termed ensuring that the legacy and memory of the father of the nation is kept alive, notwithstanding that my efforts are seemingly not reaching where it's supposed to reach, because no one seems to really appreciate and recognize what Dr. Williams had done for this country, which is very indelible in terms of its relevance today. One looks at what is happening with the children. I mean, you have never heard so much being said and done about the children of our nation. And one has to go back to on the eve of independence in 1962, when Dr. Williams spoke to almost 30,000 children at a rally on the eve of independence at the Queen's Park Oval in Port of Spain. And at that rally, he implored them to do several things in terms of a new nation being born and going forward. He asked them, you know, you got to respect your parents, your teachers, your national flag, your anthem, your birds. If someone gives you something, send you to buy something, make sure you give them back their change, be honest. He spoke also about you carry the future of the nation in your school bags. And he implored them to, you know, be part and be, important to the development of the country at their young and tender age.
And you hinted, Mr. Vidale, in terms of your organization's goal to have his legacy, Dr. Williams' legacy, live on. But when you talk about in the context of Tobago, because I've often heard, the older generation speak about how Dr. Williams would have treated Tobagonians at a certain time, and it's often not kind. So do you think that has that history or that hurt? Maybe the older generation is still hurting from that. Do you think that has something to do with maybe hindering that goal of your organization to celebrate Dr. Williams and ensure that his legacy lives on?
I don't think so. I think what transpired at that point in time was political, it was personal, but it was not Dr. Williams's feeling for Tobago. Dr. Williams had a very close affiliation. He liked Tobago. He liked the people of Tobago. But of course, politics has its thrusts and its all of that. So that perhaps at that time might have, as everything else. But I don't think that has continued to be on the minds of the people of Tobago. In point of fact, many people have approached me asking me, why don't I have the wreath laying ceremony in Tobago? Why do I have it in Trinidad all the time? Well, of course, Trinidad is where his memorial and his cenotaph is and where he was cremated. But the thing is, he was the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
And the first one.
And the first chief minister, first of everything. He
Right,
was.
right.
Right? When you talk about independence, you talk about Dr. Williams. When you
Right.
talk about republicanism, you talk about Dr.
So
Williams.
he is critical to our history.
He is very critical, and that is maintained. As a matter of fact, he's more relevant today than quite possibly when he were, earlier years, because what he's asking for, what he asked for then, you are not seeing it much today.
Right.
He spoke about discipline, production, and tolerance. Are we a disciplined people?
Right.
Are we a tolerant people?
Right.
Are we a, productive people? I mean, these are the three fundamental qualities that Dr. Williams wanted for this country.
And I want us to talk about, you mentioned the wreath laying ceremony, and I know it's coming to Tobago. So tell us when this wreath laying ceremony is going to be held, where it is, and for those who may be interested, how can they be a part of this ceremony?
Well, the thing is, it's on Sunday, the 19th of
Right.
May.
So that's this Sunday.
This Sunday at 10 o'clock. It is at the Espionage on Milford Road.
Right, the Esplanade right there. So that's not far from us right here at Port Mall.
Right, it's going to be there. And of course, being the first time, and again, not being in Tobago so very long, this program this morning can be very useful as extending an invitation to as many who would like to come.
And so why don't you do that? You can speak to our viewers and invite them.
Well, certainly I would want to extend the most sincere invitation to all to attend the wreath laying ceremony on Sunday the 19th at the Esplanade on Milford Road in Tobago. Come on, come all, come and witness what is happening for the very first time in the 43 years that Dr. Williams has passed on. Come and see the memory being relived in terms of his passing and, be part of it. I think we need to go back to many aspects of Dr. Williams' life and what he wanted for his people in Trinidad and Tobago, more so the children. And when you look at what is happening in Trinidad and in Tobago today, certainly it is not what Dr. Williams would have wanted and expected in the development process of both Tobago and Trinidad. And I think if he were wrong and reflect, I think he would be very, very disappointed, because what is Trinidad and Tobago today? Where are we going? What have we become? That is not what Dr. Williams wanted. And this is why his legacy and memory is always going to be maintained and sustained for as long as possible.
Right. So
we can't forget him.
So viewers, this is your opportunity to be a part of history in the making. For the very first time, this wreath laying ceremony will be held. And of course, you will hear a part of our history and bring the children as well. Sometimes, our curriculum doesn't allow too much time for what we may want to do. They may miss part of this in school. So bring them out. It can be a family event. It's 10 a.m. on the Esplanade on Sunday, and be a part of this historic event in Tobago happening for the very first time. So Mr. Vidale, we thank you for your time. We wish the committee and those who belong to this organization all the best and a very successful service Sunday morning.
Thank you very much. And we also would be awarding several Tobagonians with the Father of the Nation Medal of Honor for their contribution to Tobago over the years. And of course, we will also be paying tribute not just only to Dr. Williams.
Right.
We will be paying tribute to the likes of the late Mr. Ho-Choi Charles.
Right, yes.
Dr. Jeff Davidson, and His Excellency Mr. Reginald Dumas.
Right, so we're talking about honoring those who would have sacrificed to build Tobago, and so that we can have privileges and certain rights. So be a part of that, and that will be Sunday morning. So thank you so much, Mr.
Natalie, if I could just 1 minute for in closing.
Sure.
We have had in Tobago several heroes over the years, so Mr. Robinson coming up, so many to mention. And more so in recent times, you have had the loss of 3 very significant people, which I would want to term as heroes of Tobago. And I would like to make a respectful submission and suggestion to those in authority to consider renaming James Park Tobago Heroes Park, so that all these heroes who have emerged over the years can be placed there, and of course, which would be a major tourism attraction that you can go there. So I would like to make a respectful request that James Park be renamed Tobago's Heroes Park.
Thank you very much for that suggestion. Viewers, we take a quick break and we'll be right back for our next guest. Who will our guest be? Well, you have to be here on the other side of the break to find out.